What's up, folks? I'm here with some NFL DFS picks and lineup advice for the Thursday night showdown slate on FanDuel and DraftKings between the Colts and the Texans. Welcome. I'm Brian Jester, co-founder here at Occupy Fantasy and $1 Million single game winner. So we're going to do a quick video, try to stay under that 10-minute mark, to show you some high-level strategies and thoughts about the Thursday night showdown and single game slate on both FanDuel and DraftKings. Let you know about some injuries that you need to be made aware of, and then how to approach the different contest types on both sites. So let's jump into it. We'll start with DraftKings, and we'll start with low-risk contests. Now, have you seen our videos at all? And if you haven't, first of all, click subscribe. Make sure you get our latest videos directly in your feed. In low-risk contests for showdown slates, we love to jam in both quarterbacks, both running backs, in an attempt to lock up the touchdowns on both sides of the ball for both teams. And this Thursday night game is a bit interesting because there are multiple running backs that can be considered. So how you approach it and the news that comes out before the game starts will likely dictate what you do. So now, in this game, the Texans are 3.5-point home favorites. The total opened at 46.5, is now down to 45.5, has dropped a point. Still, we probably want to get quarterback in our captain spot in low risk contests. So we'll start with DraftKings, and if we try to do this, so let's do Watson. Well, let's try MVP. Watson, MVP. Then we get Jacoby Brissett. Now, the running back situations for this game. On the Houston side, we still have Carlos Hyde and Duke Johnson. Carlos Hyde getting a majority of the work. Duke Johnson playing some in the passing game. Hyde's volume has been pretty safe, getting some red zone looks as well. So Hyde, I think, is probably the safer of the two for low-risk contests. Lock him in. Now, on the Indy side, Marlon Mack fractured his hand on Sunday. He's out indefinitely. He will definitely be out for this Thursday game. That leaves three guys to look at. Nyheim Hines, who is their passing game and satellite back. His snaps actually didn't increase that much, only played 30-some% of the snaps, even with Marlon Mack exiting the game early on Sunday. Jonathan Williams, who came in relief of Marlon Mack and rushed for over 100 yards and looked incredible doing it. And then we also have Jordan Wilkins, who has been the number 2 running back, but he's been injured with an ankle as of late. He was actually removed from the injury report. If we look at Jordan Wilkins here, as you'll see in the notes on DraftKings, Wilkins does not carry an injury designation, which means he should be a full go. And leading up until his injury, he was easily the number 2 back behind Marlon Mack, ahead of Jonathan Williams. So I think we can anticipate that he will assume that bell cow role with Nyheim Hines staying in his passing game role. Jonathan Williams will be left on the bench, I believe, and we believe here at Occupy Fantasy for this game. Now, if something changes and Wilkins is ruled out, Jonathan Williams becomes a great play. And if you look at the pricing of the Indy backs, Wilkins is actually the highest priced. DraftKings did a great job of understanding the situation at $6,600. Hines, $6,200. And then Jonathan Williams, a distant third at $5,600, but still not that cheap. So assuming we believe Wilkins is the guy, and if you think Hines is safer with his passing game role and maybe he plays a little more with the injury, you can play him as well. So one of the two. I'm going to start with Wilkins and see how this looks. So now we have $4,300 left per player. Where does that leave us? We probably want defenses and kickers, right? So Texans 4K. That leaves us $4,600. We could actually get a tight end in the mix if we wanted to. Or if we drop down to Fairbairn, that still leaves the same issue. Or if we go to the Colts defense, $5,400. We can get Duke Johnson. That's now 3 running backs. We get all of the Texans touchdowns. That's not a bad option either. So fortunately, we have some flexibility because of the cheap running backs on both sides of the ball. It's not like we have bell cow running backs like Zeke or Dalvin Cook, who are the most expensive players on the slate. So this looks like a pretty good slate to start from a low risk standpoint. And to be fair, it's even better on FanDuel, which is a rarity because if you watched our videos before, low risk lineups are especially tough on FanDuel. But I'll show you why. Let's jump over there. And if we go with the same strategy, Deshaun Watson and captain, we get Brissett in there as well. We want Carlos Hyde, a little pricey at $13K. How did FanDuel price the Indy running back situation? Good question. Let's scroll down. Nyheim Hines is most expensive at $10K. And then, where's Jonathan Williams? Oh, JK. He's actually more expensive at 12.5 after his big game. So where's Jordan Wilkins? Yeah, we got to scroll down for that one. Jordan Wilkins, 6,500 on FanDuel. Massive discount. Easy low risk play, assuming he's active. In fact, a great high risk play as well at that price tag. Imagine he'll be popular. 6,500. That leaves us with 9,500 left. Now we can fit in a kicker, Fairbairn or Vincere Fairbairn, home favorite, probably who we want. Leaves $0 left over. Pretty good start to a low risk lineup. Now again, if you don't like Hyde, or if you want to fit in someone else, if you want to fit in, maybe two indie backs or a receiver, you can do that as well. But Jordan Wilkins gives us that flexibility on the FanDuel slate. You gotta love it on FanDuel, where DraftKings has shit in order. FanDuel all over the place with the pricing. So let's take advantage of that on Thursday night. All right, high risk contest. What are we thinking? Let's go back to DraftKings for a second. High risk contest. Remember, 45.5 point total. It's right on that line, a little bit on the lower side. Probably means we want a running back in the captain spot, potentially a receiver. Probably not a quarterback. As we know, quarterbacks tend to go over-owned in these high-risk contests. I'm talking about big GPPs. Definitely talking about the 100-player leagues, the contest on DraftKings, satellites. So if we had to go, other injury to be aware of, actually multiple injuries, plural. T.Y. Hilton, apparently fully practiced on Wednesday. He hasn't practiced literally the last 3 weeks with this calf injury, or 2.5 weeks. So I think it would be a surprise to see him play despite the full practice designation. We'll see. I'm not very optimistic. Some of the beat reporters are somewhat optimistic. We'll see. He's had one practice in the last couple weeks. I have a hard time seeing him playing, but we'll have to keep an eye out. Again, this is going to be a slate that we'll have to be aware up until lock, and there'll likely be some value because of the late news, I would think. If T.Y. cannot go, Zach Pascal, as our co-founder Wild Lead likes to say, he's been dominating opportunity. Hasn't shown up in the box score. If we look at the last two games where T.Y. has been out, 13 targets for Pascal, 187 air yards, but despite all of that volume, he's just finished with 4 catches, 43 yards, 0 touchdowns. A lot of people will be off of him, especially at his price tag, $8K. What's he on FanDuel? A little bit cheaper, $9K. Not bad. If T.Y. is in, he'll definitely go overlooked. And he still may go overlooked anyways, given his recent box scores. On the other side, we have Will Fuller. He's questionable. I think he's more likely to play than Hilton. Let's bring him up. Limited practice all week. Limited practice all last week. Going to be a game time decision, apparently. Maybe we'll get an overnight report from Ian Rappaport or Adam Schefter. But it's also a good chance that they hold him out for another 10 days to let that hamstring fully heal. So let's keep an eye on him. If he can't go, Kenny Stills will be in play. Kiki Kuti, by the way, who fell out of favor for a while there, actually got back into that third receiver role last week, saw 3 targets, played more than some of their other receivers. So again, 45.5 point total. Maybe we go Carlos Hyde. Maybe we go Jordan Wilkins or Jonathan Williams, depending on who's carrying the load. Maybe Naeem Hines, potentially. Maybe Duke Johnson, potentially. I think running back would be the way to go. And we'll see how the Occupy model looks. You can check out our Occupy model on OccupyFantasy.com. Ranks every player on the slate for single game, FanDuel, and DraftKings. And of course, for the main slate, it does the same thing as well. Our Thursday edition of our Daily Plug, that's the write-up I do, detail each player on the slate, strategies, more in-depth than we did here for low-risk and high-risk lineups. And then contest the target based on all the information we have for the slate. So OccupyFantasy.com is where you can check that out. All right, I think that'll do it for this video. Appreciate you listening. Do us a favor, click that subscribe button. Click the bell notification so you know when any of our new videos are released. We've had people ask us when our schedule is, and it depends on the slates. But if you click that bell notification and you click that subscribe button, you'll always be in the know of when our latest videos are posted. If you like the video, do us a favor, click the thumbs up. If you have any questions about the slate or any feedback on how we can improve these quick videos, leave a comment below. I'll personally jump in, answer them before the slate starts at 8:20 on Thursday. So for Brian Jester, at Brian Jester FF on Twitter, for Occupy Fantasy, at Occupy Fantasy on Twitter, we appreciate you listening as always, and good luck, and we'll talk to you soon.